Let's go.
Let's talk some toys in here.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Today it's Manchild. Alright, so today for review, we're going to take a look at the new Mattel Universe Origins Cartoon Collection Tri-Klops figure. So yeah, we get Tri-Klops added to the line. That's awesome. Now, I had them for a while. I just haven't had a chance to get to them, but we're going to review them today. And if you're not familiar with a lot of these newer cartoon collection figures, they're coming out in these newer style cars now, which are like really sturdy compared to the older ones. I hate ripping these figures out because they're just so cool. If you're a Mini car collector, got some really awesome art on the front, right? We got the He-Man and Master Universe logo, Castle Grayskull, fire, bats. You got Hordak up top, the She-Ra the 40th anniversary She-Ra sticker up to the left-hand side, because the Horde is really, becoming big into this line. We have Hordak and Mantenna out. Catcher and Leech are next. They just announced Grizzlor and Shadow Weaver for next year. A lot of cool stuff coming. But I gotta say, Tri-Klops is one of my favorites in that cartoon series. It's just different from the vintage one, and, well, now we have them. And here's a quick look at the art on the back of the packaging. So yeah, we have Tri-Klops using the rock softener weapon, which is an accessory comes with. That was seen on the Royal Cousin, which was an episode in the animation, which I actually just rewatched because it's been a long time. So the whole idea of this was Man-at-Arms designed it. It was supposed to help farming, soften like rocks to soil. And Tri-Klops and Evil stole it to try to get in the Castle Grayskull and turn it to soil, or soften rocks, right? He also weakened He-Man with it, as you can see what he's doing here. And then dropping down over to the left-hand side, we could just see some picture illustrations of Tri-Klops action features and accessories. So, of course, once again, you can spin his visor. And here's a quick look at that rock softener accessory, which he also comes with, as I mentioned. Moving over to the right-hand side, just a quick look, or cross-sell of all three figures, including with this wave. So we have Manny Faces, which I do have, and I still haven't reviewed him, so he'll be next. I already reviewed Hordak, which is really cool, right? Awesome figure. And, of course, there's Tri-Klops, which we're reviewing now. Okay, so before we take a look at Tri-Klops and his accessory, it comes in a new comic. It's the same comic all three of these figures and this wave comes with. It's called the Slime Lord. Now, I already showed this in my Hordak video, but once again, I'll show it. If you want to pause and read it, or take a close look at the images if you haven't, you can. Pretty cool comic. A lot of stuff going on here. A lot of hints to other figures coming in the line. All right, with the cartoon collection. Just going to do one of these. There's a Slime Pit. Got Modulok, Mosquitoer. All right, Leech. I already said he's coming in the next wave. Can't wait to see him. Over here. Looks like there's Slime and Tri-Klops. There's a Horde Wraith. That's pretty cool. They were in the classics. That'd be cool. I'd like to see one of those in the this series or the regular Origins line. Here, that's some widgets, I think. Manny Faces He-Man on top of Castle Grayskull with the blaster. And then moving over here, it's Hordak, Shadow Weaver, and Grizzlor. They're coming, as I mentioned, next year. They were just announced, along with Whiplash as well. Here's a quick look around with Tri-Klops and their rock softener accessory out of package. So, taking a closer look at Tri-Klops' head and head sculpt and the main Filmation style visor. It looks good for what the cartoon line's doing. Very, very, very bright green color. As far as the articulation with the head itself, look all the way to the left, right. Look about that far down and go back, look up. Now the visor, of course, has the shaped eyes. That's different from the vintage style figure, which, of course, I'll bring and compare in a little while. So yeah, you got the big square eye, which I believe the square one was, I think it was night vision in the cartoon. And right, we can turn the visor and you go to the circular eye. And I believe the circular one was distance vision, right, or you can see far away. And then he has a triangular eye. That one was, I think, gamma vision, where he can see through objects. So that's cool. It's different from the vintage one. I kind of like that with this Tri-Klops. Face, closed mouth, where the vintage one has like teeth showing, open mouth. Very serious looking. Right, it has like a chin strap that I guess holds on the visor. That's part of the sculpt and painted green. Obviously to match that, and you turn him around, he has the hair piece. Hair coming out down to the back of the neck. It's all, is it different from the head? No, it looks like it's all part of the sculpt, I want to say. Painted. I don't know if this visor comes off. Kind of looks like it does. Let me see if it just removes. Okay, so obviously I removed the head off the body, take a better look at the neck and ball peg. I was curious if this visor came off easy. I was wondering if there's anything under it, but I don't think there is. Just a big plug gets snapped in, so I'm just going to leave it on. But just wanted to confirm it. Yeah, the hair and everything, the straps, all one piece as far as the face with painted, and obviously this visor separate. I'm just going to put the head back on for now. So moving down, so he has his the iconic style armor piece that Tri-Klops always had, going back to the vintage figure, and of course what we see in the Filmation. But it's simplified, so it's a brighter green color once again to match the visor, going back to the animation, where the vintage figure had some different colors, so he doesn't. It's just all one piece. And if we flip him around, you can see this is how it goes down in the back. Now, to remove this, so let's take it off the body. Just one plug here. It looks like it's pretty easy. All right, so it's going to pop like this, and then, so we can remove this over the visor. We don't have to take it off, but we do have to split the body in half, right? Once you break the body, the piece will come off like so. And then here's a little closer look at that armor piece off the body, right? So we talked about how soft it is. We know how it snaps together, and you got to break the waist apart to remove it. And then once again, jumping back over to Tri-Klops without the armor on, here's a better look at the aesthetics of the overall cartoon body, right? So for people who aren't familiar with it, different aesthetics than regular Origins. And I'm just going to leave the armor off for now because it doesn't hinder anything, but not a lot to them, you know? So finish up the articulation, everything that we already seen before with all these figures, but I'll do it anyway to test it on my figure. All right, go up, down as far as the arm, forward, back. Let's see the arm come out. Right, as we know where the waist comes apart. We did that very easy. Can bend it up at the elbow. Let's see. See, mine's stuck. Let's see, bend at the elbow. Okay, straighten it out. You can spin at the elbow. All right, other arms are all the same. Comes with a couple wrist bracers as part of the sculpt, painted on orange, just like He-Man. Has two semi-closed or open hands for weapon gripping. They can go, spin, go in and out. They come out, of course. The sides are all the same. All right, spin at the waist, come apart, we already said. Now, he has a different style belt, a little bit different, right? Where He-Man has that very plain animation belt. I'll bring him in a second to show you. Painted orange, match, the wrist bracers. Has a typical style, Origin style loincloth. That's like a light brown color. And then he has the typical cartoon aesthetic legs. As far as articulation, go out with a split. All right, kick forward, go back, bend at the knee, spin at the knee. All the legs are all the same. Then he has these more simplified cartoon style boots without the fur on top. They can spin. Right, the foot can go up and down, rock side to side. And of course, you could take them off, change the boots out if you wanted to. See how easy they come off, all right? So you pop right off. Now, the other thing is, obviously, Tri-Klops is another flesh tone figure we have in the cartoon series, just like He-Man. And I'm going to bring in He-Man right now. And I'm just curious with the skin tones. So He-Man is a little tanner, which this figure should have been even darker to be true to the animation, which these figures, they are off, a lot of them, the colors. They seem like too bright, a lot of them. But Tri-Klops is really bright, so they're not the same, because I wasn't sure. So he is different, a lot lighter skin. And going back to the belt, see, so He-Man has a more simplified belt, right? Here's what Tri-Klops has, the loincloth. Yeah, it looks the same, but Tri-Klops looks like it's cut a little more in the middle for some reason. And then, of course, he has different boots from He-Man, where He-Man has these furry ones. All right, so moving forward with Tri-Klops accessory, the only one he comes with, once again, is that rock softener. And that's pretty much it. So, it looks pretty good going back to the animation. You do have the red buttons, because that was you could have just painted him silver, so you have two red buttons on each side, which I thought our animation only had one. I don't remember. But, all right, you get two. Right, there's the blaster, where the energy ray would come out, and then you get two handles. It's a pretty big piece, and it's really light, by the way. And then, of course, here's a quick look at Tri-Klops with that rock softener in hand, or both hands. So he does hold it well, with the handles, and as far as the articulation goes with these arms. I didn't have to really fight nothing, where some accessories, the figures always have a hard time. You can't get one hand in, depending how you want to position it, but this works really good for this figure. And then, of course, for a little fun, I armed him with a spare vintage Tri-Klops sword, right? Because Tri-Klops is always known to have a sword, at least with the vintage figure. And you can still hold the rock softener in the other hand by one handle, just while he has a sword. Whatever arm you want to pose him with, so that looks pretty cool. But, yeah, the sword doesn't match the armor. It's a different color because it matches the vintage one. Okay, so once again, moving on with some comparisons and mixing and matching the parts with at least the Origins Tri-Klops figures. We really can't with this one. So this is the Super 7 Club Grayskull Classics cartoon Tri-Klops, right? Once again against the cartoon one for the Origins. So here's a quick look at that figure, what the Classics did or how they went about their cartoon Tri-Klops, if you're not familiar. And yeah, he's really dark as far as the tones, against the Origins. Wow. Which I still like this. Came with a different sword, a little blaster. You could see the colors in his armor, which is even a little brighter, but I do like this one. Also, how they designed the visor over the Origins, right? Head sculpt, stuff like that. There's the back. And now, of course, for our next comparison, here's a quick look at the, once again, cartoon Tri-Klops against the regular Origins or vintage-inspired Tri-Klops figure. It's those two together. And so as far as the skin tones, yeah, the regular Origins Tri-Klops is a lot dark. Not a lot, but it is darker than this one. I'm just pointing it out if you want to switch heads around, for customs. I don't know how well it's going to work. All right, so front and back of these two. But let's see what parts we can mix together. And all we're really gaining is just two different body aesthetics. All right, so before I switch some parts around, obviously I just removed the armor pieces on both Tri-Klops figures. And I just wanted to give a better look at the overall aesthetics for people who aren't familiar, just how they look compared to one another. Because these are really different. They're even a little bit taller, too, when you straighten the legs out. A little bit. All right, front, here's the back. So once again, with the same setup, or looking at these two figures with both the armor pieces removed, I switched the heads around. So I wanted to do that if you wanted to put this cartoon head and visor on this regular Origins body. And even though the skin tones are off, because we're not trying to match the visors and hair, obviously, that doesn't matter. It's the skin tones on the face against the bodies. But what's funny is you can get away with it. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, even under my light. I can notice a little bit, but this doesn't look bad on this body. That's pretty cool, because I thought it'd be a lot worse. And articulates well. So there's a look at the cartoon one on the back of that. On that body. And then, of course, here's the vintage one on the cartoon body if you like those aesthetics better. And again, it's, yeah, it can work and get away with it. It's interesting under the light how it matches. And now, here's a quick look at the vintage Tri-Klops body all set up with the cartoon accessories. So, of course, you already had the head and visor on. You can see I have the armor on. I put the boots on. I just put a sword in hand from the other figure. Just a quick look at that setup. Looks really awesome. And you notice that this regular Origins body comes with an open hand. So I removed it, same peg, and I want to put the closed hand in from the other figure. I want to see how it matches. Well, hard time getting in, but let me put it in and see what that looks like. And then, of course, I put that hand in that side and the rock softener on, right, so we can hold it. So the hand is a little off as far as the colors, but it can work. And you can find a closed He-Man hand that's tan or something, put it on. I just want to show what that one would look like. It does a job for now. And with these arms, you can still hold this weapon. Which actually, I think the cartoon one was a little easier to hold it. But for the most part, quick look at that setup with this figure. And then once again, jumping back over to the cartoon body with the vintage head on that body. Of course, I threw the armor on, got a sword in hand, just put the black boots on. There's a quick look at that setup. If you like that, yeah, again, just what we're getting is just different aesthetics. All the articulation, everything's the same. The arm, nothing different. Boots, all that good stuff. And then for the last comparison, once again, here's our cartoon Tri-Klops against the mini comic book Tri-Klops, right, from the regular Origins line. So, yeah, this is basically just a regular vintage body, right, exactly what we went through with this Tri-Klops. Side different armor, boots, the visors are the same, the grin, expression on the face, the sword's the same, but obviously different colors. Now, to switch parts around these two, for customizers, if you want to do that, his skin is really pink. All right, we already know the flush color on this one. And again, the most important part we're trying to match is the heads, because you really would want this visor, I would think, with all these parts. It matches the greens and stuff like that. Okay, and the wrist bracers too, so he couldn't switch the arms on his figure. So it kind of doesn't make sense to really switch parts around, because you're not gonna match those. The overall. It's really in the face, but I'll try it for fun, see what it looks like. And then once again, there's a quick look with the parts reversed on both of those bodies. So going back to the cartoon body, right? Of course, we have the mini Tri-Klops vest and boots on, right? The head, we got the visor and the sword in hand. Just a quick look at that. And I gotta say, even though the tones are off in the face, it does, has like a pinkish tone in it over that. you can get away with it under certain lighting conditions. Kind of weird. It's not terrible. So, and then we're gaining the orange wrist bracers instead of the green and the belt, right? We can't change those things off. But I gotta say, it does work. It's not bad on the cartoon body. And then once again, taking a look at that mini comic book body with the pinkish tones in it. Of course, we have all the cartoon parts on it. Yeah, again, it's funny how the faces is just a different, it's more of a tannish tone. This is pink, as I already mentioned. And it does work. It's not bad. Like, it really blends in well. All right, so we have the armor on, green sword in hand. We already talked about the wrist bracers, and of course, I have the brown boots on. And what's funny is that these are really sloppy on the pegs. And my figure, when I pull those other boots off, you can put a little nail polish, tighten them up, but look at that. They just spin right around. All right, so that about does it. And that's my overall review on a new Master Universe Origins Cartoon Collection Tri-Klops figure. Yeah, it's really cool to have Tri-Klops added to the line. I got to say, this cartoon collection is really putting out a lot of the villains and heroic characters, but they're really knocking out the villains on Skeletor's side. We have a lot of characters out now. And again, Whiplash is announced for later on in next year. And then I guess we're waiting for Chopper, because I'm trying to think of all the villains you always see in the animation, the common ones. And we have them all out. Too Bad, Spikor, Clawful, Evil Lyn, Beastman, now Tri-Klops, Trapjaw. So that's cool. We have Tri-Klops. Very basic, right? It's the He-Man body, pretty much. A little lighter, but we do get the armor. I like the visor with the head and the different, shapes as far as eyes, going back to what the Filmation did. And this is a neat accessory, because it's like a weapon, where some of these accessories cartoon figures get, they're bland, or I didn't need it. This is cool. And it's always fun to have a sword. Would have been neat if they added a sword with them, but I don't remember ever seeing them have a sword in the animation. But I do have a spare one, and it works in one hand anyway. And you can mix parts with these two like I showed. And the most important parts is the heads. And for some weird reason, they do work on the body, under certain lighting conditions if you want to mix and match. But I'm going to leave them as is. And you notice, too, I was going to try to make I was going to bring in a Masterverse or Classics Tri-Klops for somebody who wants to try to make a Club Grayskull style one. I mean, at least with the armor and head. And the problem is the bodies don't match, number one, at least with the Tri-Klops figures. Maybe you can use a He-Man. But you can't split this armor to go around the waist. You can only break it here. You notice how the Masterverse ones, they split here. And the waist don't come apart. So that's out. And the Classics are the same way. So that's why I didn't try that. But, aside that, it's just really fun to have Tri-Klops at the cartoon collection. I can't wait to see more figures come to the series. So as always, I appreciate everybody watching. Until next time, take care.